I was driving to pick up some food from a friend's restaurant. I was pulling into the parking lot and was hit directly in the passenger side. I was turned going into the lot, and a driver, basically going northeast on Gallatin Road, hit the side of my car. Police report says about 75 miles an hour. I woke up in a hospital. I couldn't figure out why I was there. I knew I had a family, but no one could visit me because of COVID. I just laid there. I remembered I had a child, a son. I remembered walking him on a bright, sunny day, but I couldn't remember his name. I had lots of pieces of my life floating around in my memory, but I couldn't quite figure out how to put them all together. From the collision, I received a severe head fracture and broken bones in my shoulder and back. I was quickly transported to Vanderbilt University Medical Center, where I was resuscitated and stabilized. But because my wallet was left in the car, I was admitted with only a placeholder name. They just called me Dimples. My brain was bleeding in several places. I was in shock and agitated, so I was held in an induced coma for almost a week. When I woke up, I was strapped to the bed. All I could do is just stare out the window into an open blue sky. Once I woke up, I was just trying to figure out where I was at, why I was there. I knew I was in a hospital, but I didn't quite, know why. There were COVID restrictions, basically, so no family could visit me, so I was there alone. And I think I asked on a couple occasions, am I here because I have COVID? I couldn't figure it out, really, exactly what was going on. I had a vision of observing myself laying in a hospital bed, and I was just looking at myself, rocking my head back and forth, literally, really in a pretty traumatic state. And I was just observing it, just thinking, well, is this the end for my body? Or it's like I was just looking at it, just thinking about it. But I wasn't scared, I wasn't fearful, just observing, just looking around. Once I woke up, that was in my mind. That had been just sort of planted in there deeply. So it was the one sort of really memory I had, of the period of time between the accident and when I woke up in the hospital. There was nothing else but that. The one thing I understood is that I was still living after a very traumatic experience, and there must be some reason why I am still here. The early days were scary and painful, and the only reason that I could come up with to do whatever I could to get up was that I had a newborn child, and I had to be here to help raise him. I decided whatever I had to do to get out of this bed and reunite with my family, I would do it. I could barely walk. I couldn't eat or drink, and I was surviving on a feeding tube. I was soon moved to Stallworth Rehabilitation Hospital, where for almost 2 weeks, Dr. Plummer and his team helped me start my recovery. I played little games to figure out how to solve simple problems. I was taught swallowing exercises to see if I could relearn how to safely eat again. Dr. Plummer was the first to inform me that I had a severe head injury and that there was no easy answers to what abilities I could recover. But he helped me start the path. Once I could get the feeding tube out of my nose, I insisted on going home to be with my family, and within a few weeks, I went north to my home state of Michigan to be in nature and to swim every day in the cold, beautiful Lake Superior. During this time in the water and amongst the trees that I began to read and listen to books and podcasts, I started listening to Kevin Ballister's Adventures in Brain Injury podcast every day. I decided that no matter what happened to me, that I would take this tragedy and figure out how to make it into something beautiful, that no matter what I was diagnosed with, that I was going to believe that I could find healing. I had so many family members, friends, and colleagues support me with their thoughts, prayers, and generosity. I began the journey from one caregiver to another, taking small steps towards big goals. I went through stages of survival and shock, of grief and determination. It was a meandering path, but I fortunately found a lot of wonderful and dedicated caregivers. They helped teach me how I could build new habits and think in new ways, and believe that something better is possible. I faced the challenges of an injured brain, damaged vision. I had to relearn how to balance and to sleep, and how to reorient a broken body, how to return to work in order to support my family. But most of all, I had to learn how to believe that healing was possible, even when traditional medicine doesn't give you much hope. It was the love, joy, and presence of these caregivers that helped me start down this difficult path. It was their commitment to the idea that extraordinary recovery is possible to those who are willing to build the habits and do the work. This journey has been one that I never planned on having, and not one that I would ever choose. But along with the pain and grief, it has given me new, unexpected gifts. I think one of the focuses I came upon was the idea of post-traumatic growth, that through all of the tragedy and trial, that I could bounce back and be stronger than even before this happened, to use the time I had left to do something good with. I want to help others understand and know that there is a chance for rehabilitation, recovery, through faith and through the power of belief. There are good things out there. And there are beautiful and wonderful things that can come out of very terrible experiences. Even through pain, sorrow, and suffering, you can find a deep source of love and strength, and you can use it to help those suffering around you. That for me is when the feeling of suffering disappears and the feeling of joy comes alive.
Some things I've lost weren't meant to be. They weren't meant to be permanent. Everything is temporary. Some things I've lost weren't meant to last. They were meant to teach me a lesson, and I'm still learning. Things change, nothing ever stays the same. It's a curse and a blessing, like a needed day of rain. If things change, there will be another day. So let them change.